This is my NXT Deadline 2025 thoughts video. And starting off with the opener, which was for the first time ever the NXT Championship match of Ricky Saints versus Obafemi for the NXT Championship. And just like I said, this is the first time ever the NXT Championship is being defended in the opening match of a NXT PLE or a takeover or whatever you want to call them these days. This match wasn't just over the championship though, as whoever wins this match would go on to Saturday night's main event to face Cody Rhodes. So there was a lot on the line, especially as this match itself saw a much more determined and much more focused Femi to recapture his tight championship that he lost at No Mercy. Meanwhile, yes, Ricky got the upset and surprise win over Femi at No Mercy to become NXT Championship. But as time unfolds, leading to a bout with the crowd being more 50-50 between the champion and the challenger, the question becomes, can Ricky defeat the ruler again, or was it a fluke? Was it just a lucky one-off? And that led to, like I said, really good match of the night, easily. Which is being said, which I'll get to later, but this just led to the both men just trading moves back and forth and that, which might sound like I'm jumping to the finish quite quickly, but I would say please do check out this match. It's really good. It's more in the story than the actual moves, I personally would say. And the finish came when you had Ricky, like I said, they were trading big moves back and forth and getting close pinfalls, only for Ricky to hit two spinning DDTs, one of them being on the steel steps on the outside, for, like I said, close fall, with both men now completely tired and unwilling to give up. It's Femi who catches Saints just at that split second more than Saints had Femi, as a fall of grace to Saints is enough to win, and for the shocking victory, Obafemi is your new NXT champion. And it's just, what a move, because I thought this was like, with Femi losing the NXT title at No Mercy, I thought this was going to be time for him to move up to the main roster. But no, he's the new NXT champion, and maybe this is a sign that they're pushing Saints up to the main roster quicker. But like I said, a really solid, awesome match between the former champ and the new NXT champion and the ruler of NXT once again, Obafemi. Afterwards, we got the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge of Kendall Gray versus Sol Rooker versus Lola Vice versus Kalani Jordan versus Jordan Grace. As one of the newer stipulation matches introduced in recent years, the Iron Survivor Challenge has established itself as one of the best stipulation matches in WWE. I love this stipulation, and I do believe that there hasn't been a bad one yet, which I don't want to jinx it, but this was a really good one as well. It was an exciting time with the match, though. This one, specifically the women's, it did take a little while to get to its peak. The first couple of 10 minutes, I'd say, was a bit just treading water until we got to the next stage. As we started off with Kalani Jordan and Kendall Gray, and having Kendall Gray, the youngest of the women in the match and the rookie, she really gets the spotlight in this match and steals the show. As we get a the first 5 minutes of the match is really just who can get the upper hand and who can get, if anyone can get that first point before the next person comes out, because it gives them the advantage in that. But it's a fine couple of first 5 minutes, which leads to Gray actually getting the first point just as the third entry, Jordan Grace, comes out. And with Grace coming into the match, it just the pace, like I said, keeps at that steady pace. Nothing groundbreaking besides a really good looking submission from Grace onto Gray. Not sure what it is, but it looked really good. But yeah, like I said, not much. But it's with the introduction of entry number 4 being Lola Vice that things really start turning up and really getting good. And pretty much from this point on, the match is just great, I would say. Lola immediately gets on the point, and that awakens the crowd up straight away, and they're ready, and it's just from this point on, it is fast pace, comes with big moves, trading points as well, everyone getting points, which leads to the final entrant of Sol Ruka coming out, joining, but only to get immediately taken out by Kalani Jordan attacking the injured knee of Sol before getting in the penalty box. And Sol is taken out, and it looks like she may not come back, but after a little while she does. And this is around the 18-minute mark, which, like I said, from this point on, it is incredible. Sol immediately gets 2 points, hitting us 2 soul catches on Kalani and Lola, and it's just, like I said, big move after big move and all this, and it leads to the finish of, it looks like Sol is going to be the one to win as she hits another soul catcher on Lola Vice on the outside off the steel steps, which is very impressive, only to be taken out by Kalani, who then gets stopped by Jordan Grace, which those two brawl off outside the out back and carry on brawling for the rest of the night. With everyone then down, it's Kendall Gray, the Evolve Women's Champion, the rookie, coming off the top rope and pinning Vice for the win with only 3 seconds left on the clock. So your winner of the 2025 Women's Iron Survivor Challenge is Kendall Gray, and at New Year's Evil she will face JC Jane for the NXT Women's Championship. What a push this girl was getting. And she is really, like I said, stole the show, stole the match, and I had the spotlight. And this was a great match with an awesome last 5 minutes. Definitely worth checking out. Following the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge, we got the NXT North American Championship of Ethan Page versus Mr. Iguana. A very short match, which roughly went 8 minutes, with a lot of comedy in this match. Maybe a bit too much for my taste, but still was a bit of fun. With an early spot of Mr. Iguana playing dead to fool Page, thinking into that he's killed him, which worked, but they did go to the well too many times, I would say. They tried doing the spot again and a couple more comedy spots. Like I said, for the fact that it's a short match, maybe a bit too much comedy. That being said, though, Mr. Iguana was really good. Turned up the pace to that fast lucha pace that really went well, and the crowd got into it and behind him. But in the end, it's Page who turns it more serious by winning and retaining the North American Championship after pulling Mr. Iguana off the top rope and hitting a twisted smile for the win. Like I said, an alright match. Bit of fun. It's a nice break from obviously the Iron Survivor match before we get into the next match, but yeah, it was just alright, is what I would say. Next, we got the match of Tatum Paxley versus Izzy Dame. After losing the NXT Women's Championship at Gold Rush Week 1 because of Izzy betraying Tatum, we arrive here at this rivalry really has gotten more intense because of this match, I would say. And it starts off fantastic with a perfect visual of the two embracing, Izzy seemingly embracing Tatum, trying to lure her back into the culling, but with that evil smile, but only for Tatum to pull out of the hug with a blank stare into Izzy's soul. And this kind of brings me onto the story of the match of Izzy just trying to manipulate and trying to sucker in Tatum multiple times back into the culling and apologising, which leads her to taking 90% of the match, I'd say, which works for what it is. This, you got to remember, this is going to be a rivalry that goes on for a little while. This is the first match, so fair play to them. They're starting off a bit slow to build to the payoff, but it was still a good match. But with the crowd firmly behind the former women's champion, Tatum is able to overcome and beat down and get her revenge on the woman that betrayed her and cost her her championship. Which leads us to the finish of the match where a crazed Tatum strips the announce table and hits the cemetery drive on the table and has the match won. She has the match won, rolling Izzy back in the ring, only for Shawn Spears to get the two dolls and distract Tatum, I do apologise, distracts Tatum just long enough and that, so when she gets back in the ring, Izzy is prepared and hits a sit-out powerbomb for the win. Like I said, might sound like that was a short recap, but it's a really good match, definitely worth checking, and it's a good beginning for this feud between former members of the Culling. And in our main event, it's the men's Iron Survivor match of Javon Evans versus Leon Slater versus Joe Hendry versus Miles Bourne versus Dion Lennox. This was an awesome match and stood out enough to make itself feel different from the women's one earlier. Starting off really strong with Slater and Evans being the first two tag team partners and friends, and unlike the Hurt Syndicate during the Casino Gauntlet, which started off the exact same way with like tag team partners, friends battling, we actually got them battling each other, which was really good and started off the match hot with that fast pace that these two bring, and much like the first 5 minutes of the women's, it told the same story of whoever can get the upper hand and get that first fall. And just like the women's earlier, Javon gets that first point just before the third entrant, who announced he was going to be number 3 earlier because he won the match to pick his spot, Miles Bourne, which keeps up the pace as we get one of the coolest spots of the match with Slater and Evans suplexing each other over the top rope to the outside, looking seamlessly, only for Bourne to dive on top of them on the outside and attempt to get some points but doesn't get any. It's at this point though, things start to cool down a little bit until entry number 4, Dion Lennox, joins, which brings me on to my one minor issue with this match. And I think this match is great and awesome. And I think it's a better one of the two of the night. But I do have just one tiny little issue with this match, and that is Lennox is the only heel in the match, which might sound a bit weird, but that means that for a lot of the match it's babyface versus babyface, and there isn't that many heat spots or spots to really allow the crowd to get behind faces, and they have to walk that tightrope of not working too heelishly for the crowd to boo them. So yeah, I just could use another heel in the match. But that being said though, Lennox is amazing and gets a dominant performance in this match as he's the only heel and just destroys everyone throughout the match, which leaves only one person to be left at number 5, which is Joe Hendry.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry,
who has a much more serious demeanour and immediately gets a point early on. And as things start going on, we reach about the 20-minute mark. With only 5 minutes left of the match, it's at this point everyone is tied on 1 point each. And it's whoever can get that next point probably has the match won. And it's from this point it is just chaos, with Lennox becoming a problem, stuck in the penalty box, destroying Hendry completely before getting out of the box, throwing Javon in there with the ref who locks the penalty box for a really cool spot of Javon trying to escape the penalty box as the clock is counting down. He's not meant to be in there, he's just been locked in there. And like I said, it is chaos for the last couple of minutes, and the finish came when everyone's trying to get that last point, but it's Bourne throwing Lennox over the announce table and seemingly has the match in his favour, stopping the dominant heel from getting the win, only for Javon to actually roll up Bourne as the last second hit, and Javon is your winner in what was a great redemption story, considering last year's Iron Survivor match where it was Oba who won. It was Javon that tried to get the last fall and ran out of time. This time was on his side, and he is your Iron Survivor winner of 2025. Awesome match. Definitely recommend you check this match out. Afterwards, as the match came to an end and we got the wrap up of the show, we got a closing angle of Obafemi coming out on the stage to have a stare down with Javon, looking at the challenger, and that, only for the lights to cut out and Tony D'Angelo to return and attack Javon when the lights come back up in the ring. Only for D'Angelo to stare down Oba, the man he defeated and ended the longest North American Championship reign. This could be interesting, considering now that Oba is the new NXT champion and D'Angelo is back, and clearly has his sights set on the ruler once again. In conclusion, NXT Deadline just proved what I've been saying for the past couple of these thoughts videos, especially the NXT ones. NXT is consistently good with their PLEs. Like, nothing groundbreaking, nothing like outstanding saying like, oh, 5-star, but they're consistently good, which is even better because it just shows that NXT is arguably the best product WWE is putting out currently, especially compared to like how Survivor Series was seen. This was a great night with an awesome opener of the NXT Championship with a shock title change. A good beginning to the Tatum Izzy story, which, like I said, it's only the start, but it went on for a good first step. The only downer was probably the Ethan Mr. Iguana match for the North American Championship, which wasn't terrible, but it just, like I said, a bit too much comedy for me in what was a very short match, but was still a bit of fun. But it's another win for the Iron Survivor matches, as both over-delivered perfectly and continues to show that NXT has one of the best stipulations in WWE and maybe even in wrestling currently with this match. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave your comments below and let me know if you enjoyed the show, and I'll see you soon. Bye.